I represent a company called Comviva Technologies. Uh, we are based out of Gurgaon. We are, from a vast perspective, we are quite big. We are substantial in revenues. We have about 1,500 people. We have a good incubation, product incubation center. Uh, we bring up about a couple or 3 or 4 sort of new products a year, and what I'm about to present is something in the data space which we've got a substantial amount of success with. And as all of you know probably, that in India the whole data, the amount of data being accessed on mobile phones is obviously on the way up, and all of you as pure subscribers and users started using data, which we weren't a year back. In terms of the operator perspective, the operator is right now looking at various ways to monetize how they can charge the users for various differentiated access. The operators obviously have spent immense amount of money on getting licenses, on upgrading the network. So essentially, coming back to, there's no idea of creating or making a product unless and until you're solving a business problem. And what I'm about to present is something where we feel that we've solved a good problem for the operator, for the user, and we feel that that's something which is going to be a win-win for everyone. So briefly, yeah, so that's how we went. We were on WAP. It was a walled garden approach. The content got richer. We got open access to the web. Now lately you have mobile TV, audio, video. Now we have access to the entire net. Most of us have started watching video streaming or video movies on the net. I mean, basically the Asia Cup was available on YouTube, and I've seen people who've sort of seen that in office. Again, just to reiterate, the amount of data is growing substantially. 45% expected from 2011 to 2015. So again, if you look from a network perspective, we always think that the operator has a backbone pipe. The pipe carries various amounts of data. You have streaming, you have downloads, you have HTML, you have email, you have WAP, differentiated sort of content, and then obviously you have business critical applications and emails and things which we cannot have any, which require high amount of sort of quality of service. Obviously this translates to, as I mentioned, a suboptimal user experience. So taking a use case, you have 3 users, essentially 2 of them downloading videos. They are getting a quality of service where, so for example, A and B are sort of downloading 1 Mbps, and the time taken sort of is 15 minutes, 4 minutes respectively. What's happening is basically a user 3 is getting clogged in the network, and he's not able to access business critical emails. And this is happening because there's flat treatment given to various sorts of data coming through the pipe. Well, obviously you have various sorts of, again a use case, 2 users, monthly bill $15. One sort of uses various sort of applications, the others highly data critical applications. One is getting clogged. Obviously, another challenge, costs are going up. Acquisition costs are in a tune of 1,000 rupees. Obviously, revenue is right now not at the level to monetize those costs. Flat fee sort of monetization. So the overall value proposition, it comes in terms of controlling costs, managing the quality experience, and raising ARPUs. Pretty much how I mentioned. So basically you have differentiated buckets, differentiated buckets. You try and put different QoS values and give different treatment. coming back to the same use case, obviously you give lower preference to the first one. Again, so using various aspects, which is time, volume, bandwidth, URL, device, application, promotion plan, you can use or you can bucket and give prioritized treatment of one quality of service to the other. Overall impact, we've seen an impact which is basis on the for the operator, which is the end customer, in terms of hardware, software, backhaul, and operating costs. Obviously you can put in things like parental controls, bring in differentiation, block videos which are not required, terminate, sort of give certain treatment to certain users based on certain classes. Again, coming back to it, the differentiators being the solution is handset specific, so you have about 1600 various types of devices which are, well, so the amount of compression you do, the amount of treatment you do has to be specific to a mobile, and the solution needs to be catered to that. Based on the location, based on the insights of the users, based on the billing information, all that plugged into, you try and deliver the best plan for the best user in order to obviously increase ARPUs for the operator and secondly control their costs. Just to give a few cases, it's this actively deployed in the US in one of the largest operators in the country, and obviously in Africa. So the solution works and it's being deployed in 3 major geographies. Just to give some stats, 1 in every 8 uses this. So does that mean, oh, it's somewhere else, okay. So, so 1 in every 8 uses this solution, just to give a use case. We are one of the pioneers in doing this. We launched the first WAP gateway in 2003. Basically, we have the experience of working with various operators, and even single deployments can cater up to high sort of bandwidth usage. So this is where we are. We feel this is something that is going to bring sustainability and a value proposition for the long term. We feel that users are really going to be benefited by having their sort of content at a more discounted rate while not being charged for something they're not being used. So that's about it from my side. Okay. So essentially, the strength of a solution depends on two or three things. One is the amount of compression you can do. Compression is specific to a device. When you have a feature phone versus a phone which is like an iPhone, etc., all these require different amount of rendering and all can have different amount of compressions. So we have a database of all the various devices, and the compression that we do is specific to that particular device. That's point number 1. Point number 2, in case of the algorithms we use, we feel we have a better algorithm in terms of setting of policies, again, compression, trying to capture, and the analytics based on trying to capture subscriber information. So that's how we feel we sort of distinguish amongst others.
From the operator perspective and the customer perspective, QoS on 10 products which can go through this platform, doesn't it make it very complex?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, it's complicated. What we try and do is we try and do as much possible. So the complex part is on the deep packet inspection. If you look at it from, you have to look at every packet and see what sort of packet it is, and try and tag that and see what sort of value or monetization can be put to that particular thing. Well, there is an overhead and there are gains to it, and more we are seeing the amount of overheads that are being used undermine the amount of gains. So essentially we are getting a lot of gains in terms of we use as much possible, we do it in the hardware, as much as possible it's trying to optimize it. We try and reduce overheads, but we see the overall value that's generated is much more than the sort of overheads there are in this. Sure.
Have you done any formal survey of the customers' experience for the people who are using your platform and the people who are using other? Is there any formal survey done by you?
Yeah. So we did so what we did was we did a survey in Africa with one of the operators. It is, I think, I'm not going to name it, but it's the second largest operator in Africa. The survey was, just to answer, the survey was conducted across subscribers as well as the network managers of the operator. So from a subscriber perspective, they felt that the plans being delivered through this were more catered to their requirement. The good part was that the survey was also conducted to the network manager, the area manager, or the operating guys, and they sort of said that in terms of the operating costs as well as in terms of managing large amount of data requires large amount of equipment, etc. So we were able to curtail that amount of total requirements and able to give them lower operating costs, as well as when you look at in terms of data space, which is obviously something which is hugely impacted. So a lot of softer impacts that we delivered here.
Yeah, you are present in different geographies. What is the uniqueness about Indian market? Or
Sure.
how are you different for Indian market?
Yeah, sure. So I think the significant part about the Indian market is the willingness to pay here is lesser. I think that's what we've observed. People want maximum, and it's true to me as anyone else, I am too. People want the maximum while paying the minimum, and this is something that's obviously sort of come out. Now, in terms of the Indian market, we've deployed it in the second largest operator in this country. This solution is pretty much up and running. The people who are pretty much, it was access to WAP, which was earlier. Now more and more data is sort of coming into play, which is obviously video, etc. and all. I think from an Indian perspective right now, the content itself is not there. So the content itself is not as rich as what the user wants. So therefore, the minimal content that we have already needs to be presented in a better manner. So I think that's the pretty much from an Indian insight I can give you.
So I'm late, so maybe you have covered. So you are talking here about APIs for location, right?
Sorry?
You are talking about location APIs that are provided.
Correct.
So are you building it top of Parlay or GSMA1 API, or this is your own API? Because there are some standard APIs provided.
Yeah, this is based on not proprietary APIs. We work on the standard APIs provided.